Keep it on. Let's see what happens. It says I'm live here now. It actually says I'm live.
I hope so.
But I can't see me. I know why I can't see myself. I'm in blackout. It's like the war. There you go. Look at that. Focus. Focus on this. Well, good evening, everybody. Thomas McNulty, the Mad Scotsman's in the house. Thomas, the dog, coming on, but ran in yesterday with 2 pheasant. But not dog's fault. Too slow on the stop whistle. But he's coming on. Tommy, the Mad Scotsman. Denver Skinner, good evening to you. Finally got directional work perfect with youngster. Springer really chuffed. Well done, Denver. Steve Pace, good evening to you, Steve Pace. Michael McLaughlin, good evening to you. And Chris Devell, good evening to you as well. We have 19 people in the house. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 said hello. We got 21 people in the house. And only 5 of you have said hello, good evening. And we got Peter Piper in the house. We got 22. We got David Jones in the house. Good evening. We got Not the Tables Collis in the house. Good evening to you, sir. Right. What were we talking about? I don't know. Positive only reinforcement. Okay. Positive only. No such thing. No such thing. I've just been watching a program on television. Good evening, Frank Casey, David Jones, Noel Murphy, Peter Piper, Corleone Gundogs, Colin here, Hiya, Springer Pup, John Gaunt, good evening, and Monty's Travels. Monty's Travels, hi all. So, like I said, I put up a thing, positive only reinforcement. We all use reinforcement, don't we? But it's not positive only. I bought my treat pouch. Lovely for you, Joseph. Well done. Nothing wrong with giving treats. Nothing wrong with having a fanny bag if that's what you want to do. But the fanny bag alone ain't going to work. Trust me. Alistair Brown, good evening. Great promo video, and the music was good too. Thanks, Steve. I just thought I'd just stick a couple of promo videos up, and it's funny, isn't it? That 10 years of working that dog soon goes. It's like a blink. You blink and it's over. And then he's deaf now. He can't hear me properly. He can still go through the motion. I can still shoot over him, and he stops because he's just been conditioning, isn't it? That's what it's about. It's about repetition, conditioning. With all the thousands of birds that he's picked, he's been such a fantastic dog for his gentle nature. Now, I like gladiators. So although I love all the dogs are trained, most of them, 95% of them probably, I love training them because they're all different. And each dog's different. But Wiz has been such a reliable dog. I've had more driven dogs that I've had to give more punishment, correction. Oh my God, we're going to have some people leaving already, aren't we? Watched dogs behaving badly yesterday, and he actually gave the dog a tug on the lead. I was amazed. It was a Great Dane. Yeah, I think that at least he's talking about it. He talks about it, shows it a little bit, doesn't he? If positive only, and only is in brackets, right? Because that's the big thing, isn't it? Positive. We all use positive reinforcement, but we don't use positive only. If you're using positive only, trust me, it doesn't work. Like I said, I've just been watching a program before we came on. It's Australian program about wanting to be a farmer's wife. Now, why do those women want to be a farmer's wife? Could you explain to me, please? Is there a positive involved here? Or could there be a negative as well? Because if you don't want to get dirty, or you don't want to get your nails messed up, there ain't no point in being a farmer's wife, is it? Eh? Not unless he's rich and he's got everyone working for himself and you're just so far ahead of everybody else. But if you're actually grafting, you're going to get dirty, aren't you? You might as well get down in the dirt. And if you can do that, then there's still a positive, isn't there? Because you're marrying into wealth, you're marrying into the farm to get on the telly system base. Right. So what if it was the other way around? What if it was the women all owned the farm and the blokes were trying to become, because I tried to marry my daughter off to an estate owner. Unfortunately, it was a Ford Escort estate. And I said, no, that's not the right bloke. I meant a shooting estate. He needs a shooting estate if I'm going to let you marry him, and I'm going to give my goodwill. And he needs to know how much ground he's got for training dogs. And she said to me one day, "You're trying to pair me off with that lad." I said, "No, I'm not. If it happens, it happens." "No, you're not, Dad. You're trying to pair me off." "No, I wasn't. I was thinking of a future. Because how many people marry into money and will only marry into money? That's where my family's always gone wrong. I married for love. I was very lucky. I've got the most wonderful woman in the world. Hear her in the background? She's eating again. She's always eating. What did we have today? Chicken. More chicken. Chicken and stir fry.
That was lovely.
Iced water. Iced water. So what is positive? What is reinforcement? Let's go down that road. What is reinforcement? Come on, you people tell me, what is reinforcement? We'll talk about psychology, shall we? Good evening, Tracy Dodds. Good evening, Sue. You're in the house. Kevin Polhill, good evening to you. Positive reinforcement. Come on, reinforcement in psychology terms. Come on. No, you don't want to talk about reinforcement. Okay. Define reinforcement for me. See? Thomas. Good evening, Chris and Sue. Tommy the Mad Scotsman. Good evening to you, Tommy. Nobody wants to talk about it. Definition of reinforcement? Come on, you've got to tell me. Now, the only thing is, there's nothing wrong with positive reinforcement, but sometimes you have to use negative reinforcement. If we don't use negative reinforcement and we only use positive reinforcement, there's going to be a breakdown. You cannot train a dog with positive and positive only. That's the big word, only.
That's what up at the table Cora said.
And
positive and negative go together, not one without the other.
Well said, not famous Carl. Honestly, I might be sending you a pen at this rate. Oh, do you know the last pen we freaking sent, don't you? It had to go off to the across the pond. And I think the price I paid for it to go across the pond was on Concord. I mean, I buy the pens in for about $2.99 or something like that because it's got the name and everything on it. And freaking took it to the post office and he went, "Where are you sending it?" I went, "Yeah, across the pond." I didn't realise when he won it. Anyway, he put up a nice video for us all on the group, didn't he? That he got his pen. It arrived. I'm not telling you how much it cost. I just had to take out a mortgage. Thank God I got it at 2% before it all went tits up. Anybody worrying about the mortgages? So David Jones says, "Love fairy farts and cheese." Of course, exactly, David. Now, if you want to look it up and you put in positive only dog training, you're going to find quite a bit of it from the fairy fart people. But if you put up positive only gun dog training, you probably get two or three that will talk about they only use positive only. And that's a marketing ploy, isn't it? Because if we can't talk about, it's like Liz Truss. I don't know if anyone listened to her speech. Did anyone listen to her speech? It was reinforcement of what we're going to do. How the hell can you do it when we haven't got the money? If the government haven't got the money, how the hell? That's my saying. Come on, Gary. What's your saying? Fairy farts. Positive reinforcement is adding something negative when it takes the pressure off. Yeah. But do you know what? I thought then for a second It said Denver Skinner. I thought someone said it was Skinner who invented it. I thought, bloody hell, who come up with that? Who come up with that? And it was Denver. Reinforcement meant to strengthen a behavior. But reinforcement. So you reinforce something with positive and a negative. You can reinforce a behavior with negative as well as positive. And if you think it can only do it with positive only, then you're in cuckoo land. Oh, sorry, Gary. Love treats and fairy thoughts. Yep, you do come up with that one on a regular basis. I've caught it off you, says David Jones. What, he's caught what off me? What have I done now?
Just saying.
All right. He's caught it off Gary, you mean? Malcolm Austin, the famous gun app would be positive only. Waste of money. Why, did you try it, Malcolm? Did you try it, the famous gun app? There's no such thing, I'm telling you, except a market ploy. Dog. Come on, Malcolm. I said, did you try it? Did you try the positive? Did you try the famous gun app?
The famous Gundog app.
Yeah, the famous Gundog app. Yeah. It doesn't say Gundog, it says gun app, but it means Gundog app. Yeah. Dog. Oh, he means dog. Yeah. Sorry, mate. I'm there now. I'm there. I'm dyslexic. I'm thinking dog. Why? And now Sue said the famous gun dog. Yeah. Sorry, mate. Did you try it? Have you tried it? Anybody tried it? Anybody gone on there, gone out in the field? Everything's gone tits up, and you picked up your mobile phone. And I did. Well done. Hey, Malcolm, why didn't you come on here? Why didn't you give me your phone number in private, and we'll talk about it on here? No, we don't want to throw anyone under the bus, do we? Honestly. See this here? You can't get drunk on this. You cannot get drunk on this. But I tell you what, it's refreshing. So I got a confession. The other day, I was so hungry, my body was eating itself. And I went and got a packet of nice biscuits out the cupboard and I thought I'll eat 3. Then I thought I'll eat half a pack. And then I thought I'll eat the full pack. And I've not been having any milk. I've not been having breakfast cereals or anything like that. I've been cutting out on the dairy as well. And I thought, I cannot eat nice biscuits without a glass of milk. So I went and got a glass of milk. And I got halfway through it and the milk had run out. So I went and got another glass of milk. So I had a pint of milk and a packet of nice biscuits. I tell you what, I felt fantastic. I felt absolutely fantastic. Now, is that positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement? It's not doing my body any good. I would throw them under a tank. I'm pissed. Are you, Gary? You're pissed? Honestly, stop it. How can you have fun and not me? Right. Looks like a right waste of time and money, Steve Page. Yeah, exactly. The idea is this, isn't it? If it was such a wonderful idea, right, there would be thousands of people on the internet saying positive and positive only. It's like saying you can lose fat, you don't need to diet. No, you don't need to diet. You can just run your freaking self into the ground, can't you? I bet the people on this building these houses at the back here, working in all conditions, it's like World War III out there in the trenches. I bet they don't need to go down the freaking gym. They're lifting blocks, they're doing this. It's manual labor, isn't it? Manual labor don't really need to go down the gym unless he wants to, peck his muscles up and show off. I'm too old for that shit. But they're saying I need to go to the gym. I'm going to the gym, but I'm being distracted by pretty women. Pretty women. And that's not good for you, is it? If it works, show it. That's what I say. Look. Oh, did you see that there? My lats come out. No. Anyway, shut up, Chris, and carry on. So we were talking about positive reinforcement. Now I got some for you. Let me just read this for you. Reinforcement is psychology in the study of the effect of reinforcement techniques. Much of reinforcement philosophy is based on the early research of B.F. Skinner, who is considered the father of operant conditioning research. Skinner's research was based on law of effect positive by Edward Thorndike. Skinner introduced the concept of reinforcement to this framework. The principle of reinforcement suggests that when we follow behavior with pleasant consequence, the behavior is likely to be repeated. We understand that, but what when the behavior is not what we want? What happens when the behavior is not what we want? What happens when the value of the food goes out the window because the value of the chase is too great. There you go. Punishment, discipline, correction. The dog will avoid punishment and he'll work for pleasure. He'll work for the effect of pleasure. The pleasure can become in many forms, can't it? It can come in food, if that's what you want to use, but it'll have its limitations. I can guarantee I've had rabbit pens for over 30 years. And I can guarantee the way I train a dog, if I throw a dummy into the corner of the rabbit pen with 10 birds in the corner of the rabbit pen, the dog will go into the rabbit pen, into the corner of the rabbit pen, and pick the dummy, even though the birds are flipping all around it. Why? Because I've conditioned that dog, and it's about conditioning. I've conditioned that dog that that dummy is the be-all and end-all at that point in its life. Once I've introduced the dog to chasing in the rabbit pen, I can then put the stop on the dog, because I put the stop on the dog with the dummy, because the desire to run in on the dummy is so great, I had to come down firm on the dog. That is psychology. That is psychology. If you don't allow the desire for the dummy, the ball, and you take a dog hunting, why should it want to bring that bird back to you when it catches it? Because its natural instinct will kick in and it will want to keep it. You have to condition the dog. And so we condition the dog in many ways. And so what I say to you is, I put up the video of Wiz. How many people have seen the video of Wiz today? And I edited it explaining about steadiness in the field under great temptation. How many of you saw the video? I put it up in YouTube and Patreon. Anybody? There you go, Steve. Yes, brilliant. Thank you, Steve. David Jones saw it. Not yet, says Peter Piper. Christopher saw it. Well done. Nothing. Yeah. Malcolm Austin, carry him out. Not yet. Well, the reason I put it up is not to show off. The reason I'm putting it up is to show you how the dog is thinking. The dog is waiting for that verbal cue. And that verbal cue is positive reinforcement. He's going to go on that verbal cue. But why doesn't he go unless I use the verbal cue? Because he's had negative reinforcement when he's running on a dummy that he absolutely loves. And every dog I've ever had, I've used discipline. Okay, line me up against the wall and shoot me. Every dog I've ever had, I've used discipline. Even our pet Cairn Terrier. Very seldom, but she saw me as the leader. Why did she see me as the leader when everybody else pampered the shit out of her? Right? Why? Where's all the positive only people out there going, if you discipline your dog won't trust you? I guarantee if there was anything wrong with our Cairn Terrier, and it was mostly when she felt sick, she would make straight for me, jump onto my lap in my chair and puke up. And I don't like sick. She never used to run to Sue or Kate, who absolutely took her upstairs and put her in a bed and treated her like a little princess, like Kate does with all her dogs, still to this day. She used to run straight to me, the one person who put ground rules down, and go, Dad, bleh. I tell you. Now, let's talk about science. Why me? Why pick the fat bastard in the corner?
It was funny, though.
Sue said it was funny. Because dogs like leadership. You're dead right, not the tables, Carlos. Dogs like leadership. I'm going to send him a pen in a minute, the way he's going. He's answering everything just perfect here. Do you know, I kept saying, we need to give some prizes out. And I give a pen out to somebody, and somebody going, oh, you don't give away prizes very easy, do you? Well, you have to earn them. And it's not positive only always. Where are you, Daddy? Gary says, yeah, exactly. It's like the kids, isn't it? Right? When the kids were young and they used to be in the cot and they drop the dummy and they start kicking off, who used to get out of bed and put the dummy back in? Me, because I couldn't stand them whining.
Yeah, but I knew if I lay there long enough, you'd get up.
See that? See that? Psychology again.
Oh, yes.
Psychology. See that? If she lay there long enough, I'd get up because she knew I couldn't cope with it.
You taught me well.
She could sleep. She could lay there and go, well, he's only crying. No, he needs a dummy. Put him back in its mouth to shut it up. Honestly. But Kate still comes back here. She don't go, every time I kicked off, you stuck the dummy back in my mouth. But she knows who her dad is as well. So there you go. So the whole point of it is she went through a stage of resentment with discipline, with rules and boundaries. And she said, oh, but now she says, I understand why. I totally understand why. There's kids taking that freaking stupid gas, isn't there? And dying. And she's got two lovely young teenage boys. And she's put it up on purpose on her site because she knows exactly what it would feel like if anything happened to her boys. So she's setting rules and boundaries herself, isn't she? You have to set rules and boundaries, and yet you want to give your kids a certain amount of freedom, don't you? You don't want to keep them in. You don't want to put them in a black hole and say you're not going anywhere because you'll be protected. And it's the same with me dog training. Every dog I've ever had, I've used discipline. Discipline is part and parcel of the structure of life, right? What did Liz Truss have to do? She had to be disciplined, didn't she? She had to be told she's a freaking idiot. She's put all our mortgages up. She's a freaking idiot, isn't she? Gunno, idiot. And she's had to grovel, hasn't she? Because they've said, if you don't grovel, if you don't show some empathy, because the lady's not for turning. She freaking turned rather quick, didn't she? She didn't stick to what she wanted to do, did she? Because, and then she's on the thing saying, what's his name? Kamikaze? Kamikaze? Freaking committing kamikaze? Quasimodo, innit? And she says, I like him. I've got trust in him. And both of them together really has put us back 10 years. 10 freaking years. Oh, no, it's not. It's the Russian war. No, it's not. It's freaking offering everything without backup of how you're going to pay for it. It's so easy, isn't it, to say, everybody who comes to me will train your dog with love and affection because that's the way to go. Okay, we'd have twice as amount of people on here. We wouldn't have 39 people. We've only got 7 thumbs up. Is that because I've talked about discipline?
No, it's because they can't do it until it's...
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Look. Here we go. I keep telling you, you give me the thumbs up, we get put up there above everybody else in the dog world. But if you don't put the thumbs up, I'm going to be in the wilderness for the rest of my freaking life, talking to the screen and thinking, is anybody listening? Chris, is the rabbit pen the only way to get a real stop and control on the dog? I don't have access to one. Malcolm Austin. No, Malcolm, not at all. I didn't have a rabbit pen for a while. I think a rabbit pen gets the drive into them and takes them to another level, because then when you do want to put the stop on them, they're in a controlled area and you can cut them off. I think that's the real positive about having a rabbit pen. I think too many people take a dog in a rabbit pen and think, I'm going to put the steadiness on the dog. You want to put the drive in the dog first and then put the steadiness on the dog. But one of the biggest mistakes that people do, they take a dog on a shoot or take the dog shooting too soon. That causes problems. As simple as that. I'm not going to mention his name, but we had somebody who won the pen the other week. He sent me a video, and he's on a reared game farm in America. Now, you wouldn't get away with that here, technically, having reared birds and hunting them. At the end of the day, when I say reared birds, I mean it's a game farm, and they release the birds, and then you can hunt the birds up and shoot them. That's not what we do in this country. Well, we shouldn't at the end of the day. But in the rabbit pen, I'm not going to let the dog flush a bird and then shoot it in the rabbit pen, because I want the dog to flush and learn to stop. And the idea is, I've already got the dog wanting to retrieve. So the retrieve is not important. The importance is flush and stop. But also the importance is chase and have enough drive that you want to catch it. Now, we don't want the dogs catching the birds, but we want the dog to have enough drive to want to catch it, because in a minute you can ask the dog to take runners for you. And I've seen people overtrain, too scared of letting that dog have drive, and then the dog hesitates on a runner. And it takes a long while for the dog to understand the importance of a runner, because they haven't got the capacity like we have, that what we want. They see it as a negative because they see it as you don't want them to do it because you've instilled them on the steadiness. The idea is a lot of people will throw dummies around a dog and have it steady, have it sitting there and not picking those dummies at all. And they will pick far more dummies than they give the dog the retrieves. The other way round, by letting the dog have plenty of retrieves to begin with, creates drive and desire. And that's what Gary says. I want desire for a runner. You want a dog with so much drive and desire that it will smash through anything and it will continue going after that bird. And the real skill is, can you stop it when the dog's right on the end of it? When you can do that, you have no problem working your dog in the field under any situation, because there's nothing finer than teaching a dog to chase, but teaching a dog to stop. So in the rabbit pen, when I let him chase, as he comes past me, I'll cut him off and blow the stop whistle after he's had the chase to begin with. Frightened of dogs with high drive and don't know how to control them. Exactly, Steve, because this is the way society is going, because society is saying you can't use discipline. You don't need to use discipline to train a dog. So that's why it was so important to perhaps bring up that issue yet again that other trainers aren't talking about out there, and talking about it's the only that matters to me. Positive only. We all use positive. We build the gameplay up with the toy, with the dummy. That's a positive thing. We allow the dog to chase. That's a positive thing. But when I instill the discipline of the stop, I use a punisher. I use a punisher to send a direct message to the dog that I want you to stop. I can make the dog stop for food, but I won't get a stop that I can get a strong, reliable stop if I don't use a punisher. As simple as that. Now, a punishment, it sounds terrible. I punish the dog. It's informative.
It's also life-saving.
There you go. It's also life-saving, Sue said. Honestly, she's getting better, isn't she? She doesn't argue quite as much lately, does she?
Well, it is for the dog. It can be a lifesaver.
I can do it, but he looks at me with hate. That's cockers for you, isn't it? You bastard. You stopped me. But at the end of the day, I'm all for positive and negative reinforcement. And I would say that there's far more positive reinforcement in our training. Who would agree? We have far more positive reinforcement, but we also use negative reinforcement. Agree or not agree? Chris said something, then took it back. I was just about to read it.
Yeah, I was reading it as well.
I can. Michael McLaughlin says, I think the punishment needs defined. It's not kicking the shit. Of course, it's not kicking the shit out of the dog, and that's what that is so true. And the thing is, Michael, if we don't talk about it and it gets shoved underground, right? And that's what they're trying to do. The Kennel Club are saying to me, and I'm telling you the truth. Listen, we know you're a gun dog trainer and you have to take in some difficult dogs, and you have in the past, and you've had to use discipline. But we are mainly working with the people in church halls. I don't care. People in church halls are being turned over with the idiot psychology of what idiots are saying. So, got 1, 2, 3. Only 4 of you. 39 people in the house, and only 4 of you agree. Honestly, there should be 39 of you in the house and 39 of you. I'm not saying nothing else to get 39 yeses. I'm sitting back and let Sue run the show. That's it now. I'm just going to sit here and drink my water. I mean, honestly, if we don't get yes, I agree. That's it now. 40 we need. We need 40. If we don't get 40, it's the show's over. You go back to Coronation Street. Go back to listening to Liz Truss feeding you bullshit. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful in a society where you're told that you've got to believe in religion? And how do they control you with religion? By fear.
You got your 40.
By fear. I agree. 40 times 40. There you go, Jules. We're all right. We can get back onto it, can't we? I bet you're all worried then, weren't you? I bet you think, oh, we got an early evening. Christopher says, give me a high drive dog any day. Do so much more with them if you know what you're doing. More forgiving. Yep, you're dead right. Gundogs, I agree. In my case with labs, the negative punishment is only my tone of voice. Colin, it's still punishment, but it's negative tone of voice. Exactly what you said. All I'm arguing with is the arsewipes out there who are saying positive only. You put a lead on a dog, it's not positive. If it's positive, you give it as much freedom as possible. That's what Sue should have done with me. She should have given me more freedom in our relationship. I get clients every week with dogs playing up because force-free positive only training has gone seriously wrong. Exactly, Gary. And that's the whole point, that I will always have business. And yet I'm preaching. How many years have I been preaching the same old boring shite? You must be fed up with it, honestly. You must be fed up with it. But who else is out there? Who else is out there? Listen, I didn't win with my dogs because I bought them in trained. And I wasn't selling, I wasn't a dog jippo buying dogs to become famous in the dog training world. I proved myself in the gun dog world by winning with dogs that I'd bought as puppies at 8 weeks old, trained and won with. I then bred those puppies and brought my own lines out and won with them. And at the end of the day, sometimes I brought in a dog that people were having problems with that was 12 months of age, and I turned that dog round and won with that dog. I wasn't willing to play their game. They would shit themselves when I turned up with a high drive dog. Because if you're walking through the woods with a fag in your mouth and you've never shot over a hard hunting dog, your gob opens up, you drop your fag, you've forgot you've put a cartridge in the frigging gun, and you're mesmerized about, I've never seen a frigging dog hunt like it. I don't care what you've never seen. The idea was to have the hardest hunting dog there, but under control, finding birds within gunshot, birds getting up. At the end of the day, I changed the system down in sunny Cornwall. People were coming to me when I was winning in the trial world and coming to me on a regular basis. As soon as you're not trialing and they've slagged you off and they've pushed you aside because of the fear factor of you taking all the business in the Southwest off the old time gang who never trained like that. They trained the old. I won't even mention the books. But the books have been out for years and years and years, and they don't talk about discipline in any open, honest manner. They just brush over it. And at the end of the day, like Julian says, I will never tire of your honesty. I appreciate that. But what you've got to realize is you're never going to be the most popular person out there. But why did I have 8,000 subscribers and so many millions of views on my videos that were out on YouTube? Why? Because people were struggling and they found a method that worked by using correction at the right time. And I think that's really important. What I'm just going back up. Sorry, my brain. Oh, I can't even find it now. What's name said it, didn't he? Michael McLaughlin. I think punishment needs to be defined. It's not kicking the shit out of a dog. And that is so important. And at the end of the day, if somebody puts that up using discipline, now the discipline, as they say in life, the crime is the punishment has got to fit the crime. But if you've got a real hard dog, you're going to have to use more discipline than you would with a sensitive, softer dog. But the sensitive, softer dog learns to play you. The harder dog doesn't do that, and it just takes the chastisement in a completely different way and goes, okay, you the boss. Right? Can I say it like that? But
You just did.
but that's what they do. The harder dog doesn't hold baggage. The softer dog, get frets if you're not careful. So the level of punishment is completely different for each dog and each situation. But majority of people aren't going in kicking the hell out of a dog. That's what's the reality of of discipline. They are using corrections, and there is some evil bastards out there who shouldn't have dogs. It's as simple as that. Now, I'm not throwing anyone under the bus here, but I've trained a lot of people over the years. Do you know who the hardest people who come to me out of a job, who are in employment? Let's have a guess here, shall we? Who do you think out of all the jobs you could have,
I know.
who do you think are the hardest? And there's more of, hang on, calm down, stop being assertive, stop being a bully. Come on, you tell me. You tell me. We could give a pen away for this, couldn't we? We could give a pen away. Should we give a pen away for it, Sue? No, because we'd have to give 2 pens away. 3 pens. Teacher. No. Not a teacher. They're right. Michael McLaughlin was the first in there to get it. Police. And why are the police harder on their dogs? Armed forces. Probably, Steve. I wouldn't be surprised. But hey, the police. I've done armed forces, and yes, you're right. They need to be calmed down. And it's because they do jobs that are assertive, aren't they? They're taught to be assertive. They're taught to be in your face. And so, of all the people who've come to me in groups, as in what they do, they need results. No, they've got results because there's no consequence for being firm and direct with a human, is there? Unless you've picked on the wrong human. But majority of the time, people will back off from the authority, wouldn't they? And so if a policeman strikes you, you're a silly fool if you're going to strike the policeman, aren't you? And that's the mentality of then. When I've seen them with their dogs, they are brutish compared to somebody who just wants to use a correction and use a discipline. And some majority of the time, you've got to say, hang on, you've got to step that up. That dog's just not listening to you. Else you're going to harden the dog up. But in the other area, going down in the other scale, the majority of people who come to me from the police force are automatically heavy-handed. Is that the best way to use? Isn't that a polite way to use it? Heavy-handed. And you're saying no. Suppressing the behavior to that extent suppresses the drive and desire and the trust. That's what we need to talk about in dog training. 18 thumbs up, and we've done nothing but talk about dog training. Oh, we talked a little bit about me having to drink bloody water. Because the mindset isn't right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think half the time, isn't it funny that it's like you're taught to be bolshy and in somebody's face. Now, I understand in certain situations, you've got to show leadership. You've got to show a bit of power, a bit of authority. But if you go through life with that attitude, thinking that's the way you talk to everybody and everybody's a crook and everyone's a villain, then you don't become a very nice person, do you? And so they might have joined the job for the right reasons. And I'm not particularly having to go at the police, but I'm just saying they might have joined the job for the right reason. But a lot of them then become a little bit sort of, it changes their ways, doesn't it? And if you looked at in percentage of how many people are in domestic disputes with their partner and violence, the police are very high on the list. Is that because of the pressure they're under? Is that because of the lifestyle they lead, that macho image, the way they're pushed forward to be assertive? I'm not Skinner. I'm not trying to analyze it. I'm just giving you the facts. That at the end of the day, it's the discipline done correctly teaches, it doesn't suppress. I don't know, Gary. I've got to disagree with you there, because I've used plenty of discipline on Sue, and it's backfired. It's backfired, honestly. You have to think outside the box sometimes with Sue. Not really. I'm only joking. Alters their outlook of life. I think you're right, David. I think you're dead right. Your videos prove this, Chris. Thomas. So my videos prove that my dogs love doing what they do. They're not focused on me because I'm dominant. They're focused on the game in front of them. And I make it a big game. And if I come here and make it a game for you, you're going to want to come back. If you come here and I do nothing but bitch you every time you come here and beat you down and humiliate you and make you look silly, you're going to stop coming. And someone said something the other day, and we won't mention who it was, in our Corleone talk. They said, that dog shouldn't have moved and he's not coming down on the dog, or something of that effect. And I said, you're dead right, but you can't pull somebody on everything for every little thing they're doing. You're going to break it down in stages and give it them in layman's terms and gradually get them there, rather than going straight in with an hammer and stopping all the behavior that you don't want with the owner as well as the dog. There's balance, and you've got to start somewhere and build up from that foundation. Andrew, damn it, good evening, and hello, everybody. Good evening to you. Can't beat a training day at Corleone Gundogs, says Steve Payson. The training days are great, aren't they? And there's like-minded people, and we've had some wonderful, wonderful days over the years, and I'm so lucky with the job that I do. Except for thumbs up. I get 21 thumbs up and 43 people in here. I've got to keep mentioning it because everybody else does on the internet, because that's how they get the algorithms to get them further up so more people come in. Now, do I really need the idiots in the group? No, I don't. But isn't it wonderful? We haven't got the idiots in the group because idiots would have to pay. And idiots are quite happy to run around the internet telling everyone. It's no different than the government, is it? It's no different than the government. It's easy to throw her out. Who else are we going to bring in? Well, we could bring Richie Sunak in because he got it dead right, didn't he? He told us all what would happen if you start throwing money around and promises that you can't make, and you haven't done your sums, and you haven't worked out your expenses. But by God, hadn't she had it unlucky, really?
She got punished.
We got
negative either, was it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a negative. We've got the war in Ukraine. We've got the China situation with Taiwan. We've got recession everywhere. Who remembers the 70s when you had to queue up to go and get a job, and you turn up at a job interview and there'd be 80, 90 people in a line, and I had no qualifications. I stood no chance of getting them jobs. Maggie Thatcher says, go and get on your bike and find work. What if you couldn't afford a bike? What if, I remember, I'm getting old now, and I remember when petrol went to £1 a gallon. £1 a gallon. Yeah. And I thought, shit, I only earn 30 quid. We're all not as old as you, says David Jones. Yeah, you're right. And that's it, isn't it? I think that with age should come wisdom. Not with all of us. But at the end of the day, there's nothing finer than doing something in life that you enjoy. And if Liz Truss gets a kick standing up and making the mistakes she makes and getting a kick in like she's had in the last 2 weeks, she's going to be a nervous wreck by the end of the week. She was panicking again today, wasn't she, on the Conservative talk when she went on there? Did anyone see it? They had protesters with the 2 flags. Last time someone dropped, the interviewer dropped down in front of her, she's jinxed, isn't she? That woman's jinxed. The Queen dies. She goes to see the Queen dies. She's freaking jinxed. I'd keep well away from her. With age comes aching joints. David, tell me about it. Yeah, that's the problem with age, isn't it? Aching joints. But the problem is why would you put someone in the job without any experience? Oh, she's had experience, Chris. She haven't got a freaking clue. And then the Chancellor of the Exchequer, what's his name? Kamikaze. He turns around and says, we had a little bit of what's the word? He said we had a little bit of a fluctuation in the freaking the mortgage rates. Little. They were putting up 0.25%. It went sky high. The Bank of England had to bail them out, didn't they? Yeah, exactly, Michael. Problem with Liz, she runs her mouth off and we pay the bill. Exactly. But guess what? The pound's strengthened again now. Surely the interest rate should come down. The pound's gone down. Yep, pound's gone down. So surely the interest rate should come down. It was only a blitz. 65 billion mistake. Yeah, that's the whole point, isn't it? That's the whole point. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
You're going to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. And the banks have had to bail them out. And she keeps going, yes, but it's not my decision about the interest rate. We don't put the interest rate up. The banks put up the interest rate. Well, I'm going to show that, Steve, because on here I believe that people should have a freedom of speech, but I don't want to blow that trumpet afterwards. It's funny, isn't it? Hey, things we're going through at the moment, isn't it, eh? Yeah, exactly. Their mates have made millions shortening the pound. Exactly. And they've jumped on the bandwagon because they knew exactly what was going to happen without giving fiscal freaking results of how they're going to pay for it. It's like me offering everybody on here a pint of water. Help yourselves. You've got your own tap. But if I said, I'm going to send you all a bottle of whiskey, some of you would say, no, don't do that, Chris. You're going to go bankrupt.
I'll be going, how are you going to pay for it?
Exactly. That's what she would say in the ear. She's like that little Tinkerbell in Peter Pan. She sits on my shoulder sometimes going, well, that's not a very good idea, is it? How are you going to get that pen to America? Because you're going to have to pay 3 times more for the postage than the pen. Honestly. I don't think sometimes, do I? What I should say is anybody who lives within 30-mile radius, there's a prize. As long as you come and get it. Anyway, on that note, I'm lost for words now. We've got 44 people in here and 25 thumbs up. Obviously, there's some friggin' haters in here. Liz needs Sue on her shoulder. She does. She don't go down that road. Yeah. Sue's had a week off, honestly.
No, it's no good. If I was on her shoulder every time she opened her mouth, I'd slap it.
Oh, do you hear that?
The hand would be across her mouth. No, don't.
Do you hear that? Do you see violence breeds violence, she says. Honestly, it's not me who's dominant in this house. Put her hand across her mouth now. I'll come and collect the prize. That's it, Nigel. You come and collect. Nigel, you've just won a pen. As long as you can get here within 7 days. A decision that affects the pound. Yep. Which affects the interest rate. Exactly. Haven't they explained that to her, David Jones? Eh? It's the same, David Jones, as they reckon the condom was invented by the Welsh, don't they? It was a sheep's intestine, wasn't it? Come on, David, you should know this. Come on, David. Don't be cheeky, Chris. Oh, shit. Anyway, I tell you what, we went up on the Brecon Beacons. Me and mate of mine went up on the Brecon Beacons. And we've been up there for a week, and we've been hunting for a whole week up on the Brecon Beacons. And we've been working the dogs really hard, and I was absolutely knackered. I just wanted to get back to the hotel and get some kip. And he says, I'm hell of a Randy. I says, hang on, I can't help you. And we were coming back off one of the big mountains on the Brecon Beacons. And there was an old like shepherd's hut. And there was a rinkety old shepherd sitting on a stone on the side of this shepherd's hut. And there's sheep everywhere. You know, it's like in Brecon Beacons. And he goes, just wait there, Chris. I said, what are you doing? He says, just wait there. I'll just ask that farmer a question. So he comes back and he says, you're knackered. He says, fat boy, sit down. He says, I'm that Randy. I've just give that farmer a tenner to have sex with that sheep over there. I says, which one? He said, that one there with the red marking on its back. I said, all right, how are you going to get it? He said, I've got wellies. And what you do, you grab the back legs and you shove them in your boots. And that sheep can't go nowhere. I said, I can't watch that. I said, sorry, I cannot watch bestiality. Right? He wasn't Welsh. This isn't a Welsh joke. David. Right, and so he takes the sheep behind the shepherd's hut, and the shepherd just sat there, and I can hear screaming. I thought, bloody hell, is that the sheep or is that my mate? And I could hear him I could hear him more screaming. I thought, I'm not going to have a look. Oh God, what are they doing, for God's sake? Anyway, he come back round the corner after 15 minutes, and I'm ready to go again. I'm thinking, let's get out of here, for God's sake, a poor sheep. And he had blood all over him, blood everywhere, all over him. I said, for God's sake, how much did you pay to do the sheep? He said, £10. I said, what have you done? Murdered it? He says, no. He said, if I'm paying £10, it's going to take its bloody coat off first. No, just forget it. Just forget it, you lot. Careful now, says David Jones. Forget it, you lot, honestly. You can't say a Welsh joke, can you? Says Peter Piper. Yeah, careful now. Yeah. If I'm going to pay a £10, I want it to take its coat off. It's going to take its coat off. Never mind. Anyway, do you know what? Some people can say jokes and get away with it. Me, I have to. It's in your head, you know. But never mind. If it's Jim Davidson, you'd all put a thumbs up. I got 27 thumbs up and 44 people in the house. Right, I got 9 minutes left. You tell me what you want to talk about. I didn't even get a yet. That was funny. I just got a FFS, and I know what that means, Peter Piper. David Jones, careful now. I mean, where's he going with this? It's something to do with the Welsh. No, it wasn't, was it? It was about getting your coat off. Great tonight, thanks. Not the table cards, Chris and Sue. Night, he's had enough. Look, that freaking joke. He's going with that joke. Look, we still have 9 minutes left. Not the tables cards, but I totally understand. Good night. Anybody else want to go? Just tell me. 45 people in the house. We've got 44 now. He's not gone yet. He's freaking embarrassed now. He's had premature ejaculation. He's got another 9 minutes left. No, he's gone. We got 44. We did have 45. Tumbleweed. Oh, not again, Steve. Not more tumbleweed moments. Problem is, if I was pissed, I might have said the joke better, mightn't I? People were saying to me, why is he drinking water? Why? Because I don't want gout in my bloody feet. Simple as that. Any questions? Far away. Come on, I've talked enough tonight, and I've gone on non-stop for 52 minutes and 37 seconds. Ask me a question. Not about sheep. Not about sheep shagging. Hello? Anybody there? No, they've all freaking gone. It's a tumbleweed moment. I've bored them to shit. They've all gone to sleep, Sue. I'll stay. Go on. Oh, thank you. Not the table scholars. I thought you were leaving. Do you know what? I'd rather watch Grand Designs than this shit. Grand Designs. I have to watch the second version of Grand Designs, and thank God it's got plus, like a Channel 4 Plus or catch up. Because I like Grand Designs. I like to sit down, and Grand Design starts at 9:30. So what we could just do 10 minutes, couldn't we? I got another 7 minutes, and Grand Designs is on in the moment. I bet you're all watching it in the freaking background. Any more good jokes? No, I'm not saying any more jokes, Graham. No more jokes. Steve, do you know what? If you get a positive for a joke once in a while, you might tell a few more jokes. All I get from that Steve Pace is tumbleweed every freaking time. He either hasn't got a sense of humour. Tumbleweed. Oh, no, it wasn't that. It was something else I was thinking of. I'm doing the drying up. She has me well trained. Gary, honestly. Don't tell.
I failed there.
Don't say that in this house, please, Gary. You make me look like an old-fashioned man. What a start training cockers, Chris. Good fun, innit, Stuart? Good fun, innit? You got a sense of humour. And that's why. Do you know what it is? Springer Spaniel men don't do dishes. Cocker men do dishes. Tell me. Any of you here who've got Springers and you do the dishes? Come on. Or is it just cocker men? Come on. What age? Sent you a video tonight of my bitch pup. retrieving delivery update. David Jones. Well done, Dave. I'll have a look at that. See, hang on. Is this no? You don't do dishes. Is this a Springer, people? No, that's it. Well done. You stick to it. Well done, Stevie boy. You're honestly, you're a man's man, Steve. All the time doing dishes, David Jones. Bloody hell! In the pocket. Enjoy the video. Michael McLaughlin. No, just cross-dressing cockermen. Julian Lees, you creep. Any decent bloke will do the dishes. You live on your own, Jules, don't you? That's why you got to do the dishes. On occasion. Andrew, honestly, you know how to win a woman's heart, don't you? We have a dishwasher, Nigel Moore, that's it. I have. She's called Sue. But the thing is, I'm a modern man because I do the cooking. And I don't believe that I should do the cooking and the dishes. If it was the other way around and my wife was doing the cooking, I'd be thinner. Simple as that. We have a dishwasher. Me, says David Jones. Yeah, we've never had a dishwasher in all our lives. Our kids left home and we were gutted because they used to do the dishes. But the size of our kitchen, oh, I tell you what, size of our kitchen, we could not put a dishwasher in there. I bought one of them ninja things. Has anyone ever heard of them ninja things that steam? They do 27 different ways of cooking. You need a degree how to work the freaking thing to start with. It's supposed to save you electric. That's because you're reading the instructions all the freaking time, how to switch it on, how to work the freaking thing. I cooked some food the other day. It was black. It was burnt. You got to get used to the cooking times. It cooks about 3-4 times quicker because it air fries it. Honestly, this modern man here, look, they're all going, we don't do any cooking. Come on then. Who does cooking? Who cooks in the house? Who's the cook? Come on. You got to put, if you're a cook, yes, Springer man. Yes, Cockerman, or no, Cockerman, or no, Springerman. Oh, lady, come on. No, Steve. Steve, you're just a bloody caveman. I don't know how you get away with it. Me, David Jones does the dishes as well as the frickin' cooking, Sue. Not all the time, though. See, David Jones, honestly. Nigel Moore says yes, he does the cooking. Look at that. Eh? So we get some people. Yeah, there's got to be a compromise in life, don't there? Okay, next question. If I get a yes from any geezer in here now, I'm going to puke in a bucket. Who puts their hand down the toilet without a glove on to clean it? Do you put your hand down the toilet without a glove on to clean it?
I would say they never have cleaned
Fucking exactly, Gary Marriott. Exactly. Exactly. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Look at them. You're all wimps. Me. John Griffiths, you put your hand down the toilet. Never. I use a brush. Well done, Graham. Thank God for that. Never, never, never. Exactly. Never, ever, ever. Exactly. If you've been in the army, that's easy. Stop it, Nigel Moore. In the pocket, no. You should be try unblocking drains in the brush. I take out again. Take it. Oh no, don't do it. You know what? I'm not talking out of school, but Sue can do that without a glove. I do it with a glove and I'm gagging.
Never.
But I've never done it.
No.
It's just the thought of doing it make me gag. And there's no way would I be putting my hand down the toilet to clean it. No way. Sue, sort yourself out. Exactly, Gary. She loves cleaning. Honestly, she's just a scrubber. Oh, no, can't say that, can I? No, she's not a scrubber. Yeah, she is a scrubber, but not that sort of scrubber. Can I say that?
You just have.
I just said it, sorry. Yeah, she's a scrubber, but not that sort of scrubber. She's offended now. She's offended. Sue, you're dead. You're dead hard. She's dead hard. She's freaking stupid. No, don't call her stupid. I don't mean stupid. I mean, why doesn't she put a glove on? I've said to her many a time, that will mess your nails up, darling.
I bite my nails.
She bites her nails.
After I've cleaned the toilet.
After she's cleaned the toilet. You can see why I love her, can't you? No, she doesn't make me food afterwards, David. That's why I do the cooking.
I just make you a cup of tea and stick your fingers in it.
When we have sex in the bedroom, I make her wear gloves. Stop it. It's too much information, isn't it? Not yellow ones. The dog gloves, what we use in the kennels. Not rubber gloves. There's nothing better than sex with rubber. Sorry? Oh my God. Someone's going to complain to the Devon and Cornwall police. He's talking about sex again and rubber gloves. He's into S&M. No, she doesn't make me food, David, afterwards. You must be bloody joking. Anyway, you've had enough. We've had a bit of a laugh. We've had a bit of seriousness. And now I want to watch Grand Designs. So I'm now going to wait another half hour for it to finish. And then I'm going to watch Grand Designs. Because one day I'm going to build an empire. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed this evening. Hope you've had a bit of a laugh. I hope we've talked a little bit of sense. I think talking about the government at the moment is talking absolute crap because they haven't got a clue of that. We're all screwed, aren't we? We're all screwed. We're all screwed. It's like Ukraine. They're all advancing like crazy now. The Russians are letting them before they drop a big bomb on them. I'm a little bit worried about that. Good night, all. Sleep tight and don't let the bed bugs bite. And make sure the toilet's clean, or tell your missus to get her hand down there and get it clean properly. Good luck with that. Good night, all. Bailing. That's billing. Good night. Chris and Sue signing off. 34 people and 31 likes. Nearly got 34 likes. 32 people. Someone else just come back in. No, they haven't. 34. Good night, all. Chris Upton signing off.